ensures that we keep you updated with all the latest happening from politics to matters of society. And today we take a spotlight on a silent crisis that is affecting Kenyans, millions of Kenyans, diseases that rarely make headlines but yet continue to steal sight, sometimes even dignity and even productivity. What am I talking about? Neglected tropical diseases, or NTDs as they are famously known, where poverty and poor sanitation thrive and safe water and weak health systems intersect. That is where you find about this. But have you ever heard of them? Which are the neglected tropical diseases? From maybe you've had trachoma, some of the diseases I've seen here, lymphatic filariasis, but I'm not the expert here. We have the experts in the house to help us to delve into that. And something else that I've been able to pick up is that we want to do away with NTDs, at least one or two, by the year 2030. We have 4 years. Where are we on that? But without further ado, allow me to introduce my panel of experts, bearing in mind that this coming Friday, that is the 31st of January, we are celebrating World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day under the theme, we'll be telling you about the theme, we'll be looking at that on the second part of this program. But on my immediate left, and let's begin from my extreme left, we have Dr. Joyce Osongo. Dr. Joyce is the technical advisor for NTDs, that is neglected tropical diseases at World Health Organization, WHO Kenya. Karibu sana, Doc.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much indeed for making time.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Just next to her, we have Jane Njomo, who is the project manager at WASH Alliance Kenya, which is representing the critical link between water, sanitation, hygiene, and disease prevention at community level. Karibu sana, Madam Jane.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Karibuni. And maybe for the interest of Kenyans, and also enlighten us more what we are talking about when you talk about NTDs, or the neglected tropical diseases.
Thank you, Ben. Good morning, viewers and the panel. Thank you for hosting us. As you heard, my name is Joyce Osongo. I am a medical public health expert in the area of communicable diseases, and now focusing on the neglected tropical diseases at the WHO Kenya Country Office. And with this particular day, I'm very happy to talk about the neglected tropical diseases because actually, Ben, the neglected tropical diseases, we call them neglected, but actually it is the neglected people. These are a number of diseases, very ancient diseases. They are really not new, but they have affected millions of population. In fact, we say now in Africa, in the world, there are about 1 billion people at risk of these neglected tropical diseases. But they affect the poor, and that's why these people are neglected, because there is no major budget, there is no voice, and nobody really looks at them. It is the poor. Actually, our Director General in WHO, former Director General, Dr. Margaret Chan, say that the neglected tropical disease starts where the road ends. So when the road ends, the diseases start, meaning it is the very end of the road where there's poverty, no sanitation, no access, and the people are poor. And we have a number of them. You have talked about lymphatic filariasis, you have talked about trachoma, you have talked about onchocerciasis, ecalaza, which is leishmaniasis. There is also schistosomiasis, soil-transmitted helminths. There are about 21 that WHO has listed as the neglected tropical diseases in the world. But each country has, like Kenya has highlighted about 10 that are very focused. And I want to say that these are a number of diseases that are mainly caused by viruses, they are parasites, fungi, toxins. They have various diseases that are put together, because the strategies are related. But I want to say that as WHO has given a global roadmap. It's called the NTD roadmap, ending the NTD 2030. Meaning at least each of the countries that are having these diseases, you should eliminate at least one by 2030. If you can do more, it's better. And I want to say that in Africa, there has been a lot of progress, but there's a lot of work to do. At least 19 countries have now eliminated at least one neglected tropical disease from their community.
Have we as Kenya?
Kenya is on track. We have eliminated 2. So there is guinea worm was certified free Kenya was certified free guinea worm in 2018, and congratulations. We really give a lot of thumbs up to the government of Kenya and the people of Kenya for having this milestone. And just last year, 2025, June, Kenya was validated to have eliminated what we call sleeping sickness, human African trypanosomiasis, free elimination. It was actually elimination as a public health problem, meaning the cases are so low that you cannot be a public health problem. And therefore, Kenya is on track also to eliminate 2 more by 2027. That is lymphatic filariasis and trachoma. That is the the blinding trachoma. And if Kenya reaches these goals, you can imagine the burden we remove from our communities, and they are free to live quality life and do the economic activities. Yes.
Jen, allow me to pick where Doc has left in regards to where the road ends, that where they begin. And I'm looking at why poor sanitation, poor water and hygienic conditions are so closely linked to NTDs, especially in communities.
Thank you. Once again, my name is Jane Jomo, and I manage the project in the Western Kenya region. So we are mainly in 4 counties that we refer to as the DIF counties. That is under the program that is funded by NFund. We call it DIF because it's abbreviated to mean Deworming Innovation Fund. So this is a fund that comes in to support in the elimination of the neglected tropical diseases. We are a partner, we are 3 partners that work together. So we have AMREF that does the treatment. We have AHD, that African Institute for Health and Development, that does the social behavior change communication, and WASH Alliance comes in to bring in the water sanitation and hygiene component. Now, coming to your point, WASH Alliance works to provide services to be able to support these vulnerable and marginalized communities. Like Dr. has said, it is key that we start at the bottom, at the grassroots, because these are things that if behavior is improved, simple practices like proper use of latrines, simple hand washing with soap, and stopping of cultures and practices that are linked to these illnesses, we are able to eliminate these NTDs. Now, just to mention that there are simple bacteria, viruses, and parasites that if we do these practices like the proper use of latrines, then we are able to create a barrier between the latrine, that is the sanitation, and coming to our food handling. And simple behaviors like handshakes are able to break that barrier in the transmission of illnesses from these sanitation and water storage facilities to the children. Now, coming to these illnesses, let me mention some of the NTDs that we have. We have bilharzia, that is commonly in lake regions and rivers. Then we have intestinal worms, which are commonly among children. We know that in schools, you will find, especially children who do not wear shoes, who walk barefooted. Remember, we are linking this to poverty and vulnerability and marginalization. So among children, you find children that walk barefoot are most exposed to the passing of these illnesses. Then in trachoma, they are prevalent among the arid and semi-arid regions. We know that without water, and there's that passing of especially areas that do not have proper water, and most of these arid regions will have livestock. So there's that passing from for example, flies to the eyes, and that's trachoma arises. Then we have the elephantiasis that is common mainly in the coastal region. In Swahili, we call it matende. When we were growing up, we could see that people had swollen limbs, and this is caused by the elephantiasis, mostly from tsetse flies. Now we finally have kalaza, which is common in parts of northeastern. So like Daktari said, we find a linkage between water sanitation and hygiene and the NTDs. Yes.
Doc, A very valid point she's talking about, especially when it comes to some of these things like bilharzia. Hardly you hear of Kalaza in Nairobi, you know, but in those northeastern region. And the question is, why is it a public health concern in Kenya? And what are some of the symptoms that somebody should look out for? I remember back in the 80s we were looking at, you know, the people who had really swollen limbs. And we thought they were just huge, but it was a condition. But gradually, just like you said, we are almost done with these diseases.
Okay, thank you, Ben, for the question. Why is it that they are a public health problem or concern? The World Health Organization definitely has highlighted some very high, high priority of these neglected tropical diseases to be eliminated. And first of all, they are categorized. They are those for eradication. We don't want them anymore. And this is guinea worm. And there's another disease called yaws, which is not in this country, but it's in West Africa. So those ones, we just completely erase them from the face of the world. Then there are others for elimination. We can reduce them to a level that there is no transmission of this condition. It's possible. And there are others which are elimination as a public health problem, and the others for control. So they're categorized in various categories. There are some you may not eliminate because we even don't understand their magnitude. Let me go to what you're saying, why they are a public health problem. It's because they affect a large number of people, children, adults, and these, for example, let me give an example of schistosomiasis, what we call bilharzia. If you look at bilharzia, if you don't remove bilharzia from children along the water bodies, like mainly in this country, they along the lake region, the coastal area, and where there are water bodies, those children cannot attain their full-grown educational attainability. They cannot have cognitive activities. They cannot get well through the education. So if a child remains behind in the education system, they have already lost in their way of development. So they retard, they affect development, and therefore throughout the life, the child is already behind. When they become adults, the adults cannot produce their economic potential. They are always tied to the poverty cycle. They will not come out. Because of this impact of health, we realize that we need to remove this from the community so that the community can live healthy lives and economically empower themselves. That's why they are of public health concern. They also cause stigma and isolation. This, for example, if you look at the coast area, people who have this matende, they have big, swelling of the legs. Some of them have swelling of the genitals, what we call hydrocele. They don't even come out in social activities because they feel isolated and ashamed. This is not something that should stay in communities. Communities should, and there are tools, another thing. There are tools that they are there to remove. You see, if there were no tools, we could say, we don't know what to do, but we know what to do. So why not then do it and remove this suffering from people? This is why they are of public health concern. Thank you.
Yes, you wanted to add something.
I wanted to mention something about some of the symptoms that will tell us that NTDs are monsters, and some of the symptoms would be like stomach pain. We may also have cases of diarrhea, and in some cases you'll have blood in urine. So it is not necessarily that this is bilharzia, but just to be safe, it's good to be checked out to establish that bilharzia is not there. And then another case in trachoma, there's a lot of eye infection, which if not treated may lead to blindness. So there's the swelling of the limbs, like we have mentioned, and then there's skin sores, vidonda, and discomfort. Then we would also have fever and fatigue, because this is something that's draining you. And then we would have blindness, where trachoma is not treated in good time. And if these cases advance to high levels, it leads to permanent disability. So people, like we've mentioned, become unproductive in the community because they cannot work. So they are not productive, and in the case of stigma, you find even in schools, children may not want to go to schools if they have jiggers, because they cannot play when other children are playing, and other children look at them like they are cursed. We know the issues of culture are very strong in some of our communities. So these members may be isolated and no one wants to associate with them. And that's why it's important that we respond and handle these illnesses so that they are able to be gotten rid of, and these society members become productive members of the society. Yes.
And something disturbing is that both of you are talking about these diseases are not only preventable, they are curable. You know, we are not talking about the same way we talk about we had COVID, the same way we're talking about tuberculosis or HIV and AIDS or even cancer. Yes. They are both preventable and treatable. But unfortunately, if you look at what we are having right now in the country, and just like you said, where the road ends, that's where it begins. Unfortunately, we are not doing enough to do. Are the policies, the county governments, are they really keen on eradicating this? If we have to beat the deadline of 2030, and there's the one that we've put up for ourselves, 2027. Yeah.
Thank you for that question, Ben. Very interesting. Are we committed to end these diseases? I believe first that as WHO, we know we have made the policy, and because it's doable, that's why the policy is there. If it were not having the tools and the medicines and the knowledge, then we will not have the target. So yes, it is doable to end these diseases for NTD. However, what does it require? It requires commitment. Number one, policies at highest level. That is the national government, the county government, the communities, all the way to individuals. We've got to take responsibility. And I want to commend the Ministry of Health through the Negative Tropical Disease Program that has set a strategy 2027 to 2023 to 2027. There is already a roadmap to end. So that is number one commitment. If you don't have a strategy, then where are you going? But we have a focus of ending these diseases, at least until 2027. They have targeted those. Actually, there are 2, or there could even be 3, because there's another one you're talking about, onchocerciasis, which you have not even put it in. So it is possible to end. Another thing, World Health Organization has committed medicines which are given with no cost to the government as much as they need it. These medicines, we call them mass drug administration. We have medicines committed by our international pharma, including the GSK, Merck, and JJ. We have Johnson & Johnson. We have all these pharmas which have come to WHO and said, we can donate these medicines to countries that need it through the World Health Organization, so long as they deliver to those who need it. And we do this every year. Matter of fact, just last year, our regional director, Professor Janabi, provided a donation of about 6.5 million tablets for schistosomiasis and the treatment of zoetrosimase helminths to end. We continue doing this every year to the government of Kenya, and we are happy that the government of Kenya then delivers these medicines to the children and the communities that need it. We are committed that until 2030. If we have these commitments, and also the communities should now take it up and do the hygiene, the sanitation, education. I was in this Migori, let me just give you an example. I was in Migori last year when I was giving the mass drug administration in Migori. Migori was one of the high endemic counties for schistosomiasis. In one of the villages when I visited, the mother told me, oh, you mean this passing blood in urine is a disease? We thought it was a stage which our children pass. All of them, they do that. So I was so touched. I say, look at the knowledge. People think this is normal, but it's actually a disease that is affecting their children. And they were very happy that now they can remove this condition through treatment and hygiene. So it is possible to end these diseases.
Let me pick from where Doc has left in regards to mass drug administration. And question is, why can't Kenya eliminate NTDs through medication alone? And what interventions is WASH coming in with, especially to break the transmission cycle? Because from what I've gathered is that the transmission is also playing a big role in actually denting our efforts to ensure that we are free by 2030.
Thank you for that. And just to mention that, like we are saying, NTDs are both preventable and treatable. So they're curable. But then we need to handle them from the beginning so that we prevent them. And with evidence-based policies and community action. So it's not a one-person responsibility. All of us have a part to play with coordinated efforts. And as much as we have the MDA, Mass Drug Administration, it has to be supported or complemented by simple behavior practices that can be done for us to be able to break that transmission. Now, how do partners come in to support? So partners come in to give support to the government, both the national level as well as the county level governments, through funding and technical assistance. So education, sensitization, creation of awareness on what exactly NTDs are, how they're transmitted, and what communities can do to be able to break that link. Then we also come in with research, because we know you cannot handle something that you do not know how to handle. So we need evidence, we need numbers. So this helps us to be able to plan, to target interventions, and also to be able to identify which areas need more interventions. Then we have the linkage between NTDs and WASH, because we need to see what happens where there is good WASH, are NTDs eliminated? And if they are not, then what is the other factor that is contributing to this problem? It could be the issue of behavior change, because we could be doing the MDAs year after year, but if the behaviors are not changing, then we'll have consistent problem of the same issue. So we need to be able to bring in behavior change so that people use the latrines properly, wash their hands, and ensure that children wear shoes in schools for us to be able to break that linkage. And also community mobilization so that we bring everybody on board. It is not the leadership of the county's responsibility. The communities, the youth, women, we need everybody on board. Like we say, we do not want to leave anybody behind. Everybody has a role to play so that we ensure that once they have the knowledge, then they practice these things, from the parents to the children. So in schools, we have what we call the WASH clubs. So these are clubs that have children who are trained, and we use them through an approach we call peer-to-peer. So they talk to their fellow students, and when they go back, they talk to their parents. And that way, the whole community then is brought on board. Then we have coordination of efforts so that everybody has a part to play. The Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Water, everybody, even at the department, the county level, the departments work in a coordinated way, so that as much as we are coordinating partners come in, and the efforts they have are not duplicated, so that we have long coverage, we go longer, and we are able to save on resources and time. And finally, the issue of advocacy. Lobbying for budgets, for us to be able to handle these NTDs. We have budgets that are budget holders. For example, at the county, the leaderships, the MCAs, the MPs, they have budgets that are allocated to them. Yet in schools, you find sanitation facilities that are collapsing. So are they willing to commit, even if it's a small budget of this money, for us to be able to renovate these sanitation facilities? So it is everybody's participation that will work towards elimination of these illnesses.
Yes, Doc, I saw you nodding, and I'm looking at some of the things that she's talking about, very practical, because one, advocacy, and even information. You had a case in Migori where the parent didn't even know that the kid is sick.
Yes.
And one thing people should know, that some of these NTDs can kill.
Yes.
Blindness.
Even
maiming.
visceral leishmaniasis actually causes death without treatment.
Now we are celebrating World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day.
Yes.
And you know very well, when we have anything that maybe we are celebrating a day or commemorating a function, a lot is done in between or running up to the day. But after that, that's it.
Yes.
From where you sit, beyond just symbolism that we are celebrating this day, and we have made, also tapping our shoulder, because at least we've been able to eliminate at least one or two, and we are on course.
Okay.
We're talking about 2027 or 2030.
Okay.
What urgent actions should the government be taking, especially now?
Okay. That's a very, thank you for a very directed question and very relevant, I must say, Ben. Indeed, what is the urgent action now? In fact, the theme is unite, act, and eliminate. That is the theme. We have to unite, act, and eliminate NTDs. That's really the general theme. But now I need to go slightly back. Allow me to go back to the counties.
Yes.
What my colleague has said here. Apart from the national level, the counties have to take responsibilities. These diseases are not, they are there where the people live. Every county should take the challenge to know, what is it that I have in my county? What are the conditions that I have? What are the people who suffer in my county suffer from? Some counties, it's not all that have the same conditions of NTDs. Some have schistosomiasis and so transmitted helminths much more. Others in the coast have lymphatic filariasis and schisto and others. Others have, like in the north, they have Kalaza and trachoma. The country has a map.
Yeah.
Let's create a map to see which are the conditions where they found. It is now up to each county government, the county plans, to come and say, for us, this is what we'll deal with, and we put it in our plan to address it. So that is where take responsibility, accountability, and put it in the budget. And I believe my colleague has alluded to that. What do we need to do urgently now? Urgently now, unite. We cannot eliminate this without all unity in action. Yes, as I said earlier, there are strategies. One of the key strategies, for example, elimination, is availing the medicines that are required for mass drug administration. But that's not the end. We have to continue sustaining the gains by engaging communities, putting sanitation, water, education of how to prevent. Some of the conditions are vector-borne. For example, visceral leishmaniasis or Kalaza. How do we manage these vectors so that people don't get exposed to get bitten by these which carry the parasite? So unite in all activities. Where we have to push the end, let us unite in resources, in knowledge, in coordination, and in maintaining the gains that you have made. Because we can go back. Yeah. People eliminate a condition and they say, oh, we are relaxed. It will come back. We have to continue doing what we have to be doing correctly. And then finally, educate and engage communities. That is so. In fact, NTD cannot end without community engagement. They are the ones even who deliver the medicines to the household. It's not the nurses and the doctors. It is the village community volunteers and the community promoters who take the medicines to the village, to the household, and they give the child there. You see, they are doing their part. Let us engage to end. Thank you.
Allow me to build up on that in regards to funding of NTD programs. A practical example, we have World Health Organization, which is not a Kenyan body. We have WASH, which is not actually a Kenyan body. We are over-reliant on we are more dependent on donors than we realize, especially in the northern part of Kenya. What risk can we run if we have donor fatigue? We are not hoping that any one of you is going anywhere, but we saw in the case of USAID, it just came and went. If at all there's donor fatigue, then we can claw back the gains that we have made, especially now that we've given ourselves up to 2030 to do away with these diseases.
Thank you for that. I think that is something that really needs to be amplified and shouted about, because we have learned a lot of, I hope the counties learned and the national government also learned a lot of lessons from what happened with the USAID programs, because we were so reliant on what was given to us to a point where budgets were not being allocated even to basic services and interventions. So from those lessons, we are, as much as possible, letting it sink in that this is not an NGO or donor support responsibility. It is the community and their leadership responsibility. And even for the program that's running now, we have started the transition so that as much as we've been doing these programs, the communities and the leadership have to take responsibility. Because we could wake up tomorrow and everything has stopped. So what does that mean? Especially for the marginalized, the vulnerable, the ailing, the old, the elderly. So communities need to take responsibility of everything, and we try as much as possible to involve them from the beginning. From the time we are starting the programs, the planning, the implementation, evaluation and monitoring, so that they are part of it and they feel that this is our program. I want to give an example. There's a time latrines were being constructed for communities, and you could go to a community and find the latrines are not used, not because they do not want to use them, but because they think it is a donor or an NGO responsibility. Yes. So when you go to talk to them, they tell you, hii ni choya, it was given to us, but it's not ours. Someone gave it to me. So I do not understand the importance of having that sanitation facility. But if I construct it myself and I understand why I have constructed it, then I take it upon myself to ensure it is properly used, well maintained, and ensure that in case it fills up, then I will be willing to construct another one. And I even, when I'm doing my budgets, I allocate a certain amount for sanitation facilities. On the issue of hand washing, we may think it is easy because we saw during COVID, everybody was washing their hands. But after that, we went back to our normal practices of not washing. And the ailments came back. We have evidence that during COVID, illnesses had gone down because of simple hand washing. So communities need to understand that it is my duty as a community member to ensure that me and my family are safe, so that when the community is safe, the county is safe, and the national government, and at that national level, then everybody is safe. Yes.
Maybe you can touch on that, because at the end of the day, we might run out of
Fine.
ideas
Okay.
because of only following
that. Yes, I want to agree very much what you have actually related to, Ben. The funding of programs for elimination of NTDs, mainly, even globally, have been driven mainly through partners and external resources. There is also national resources. What we are speaking now with the experience which you have seen of, drawing back the funding to health from the, we see what happened from the USG, but also other partners are pulling on health funding globally, not just here. It's the whole global platform. The lesson that is creating is that sustaining these gains have to have domestic resources. And these domestic resources are both national. We must put in national resources into our budget through the treasury all the way to the county treasuries, all the way to the communities. That's number one. Two, which I want to highlight here mostly, integration. Let me emphasize that word. We no longer can deliver the elimination of NTD through what we call specific vertical lines. Like, okay, this is a program, is funded all the way to the community. It's no longer the business. The new business now is integrate with any other sector. In fact, most of the NDD intervention could be delivered even through Ministry of Education. We are delivering medicines to schools. That is an integration through Ministry of Water, through communities. Integrate as much as possible because communities are there. Even it could be another program that is reaching the communities. How can these medicines be? I've seen an example in other countries where actually a program, even in health, you combine another program and you combine them together. You have the vaccine, you have the NTD medicine, you have the net for malaria, all combined to deliver to the communities. Integration is the way to go, and the domestic funding. Thank you.
Now, since we are looking at that, it's a good thing you've already answered that, because I wanted to ask how has devolution strengthened or weakened Kenya responses, and why are we, some counties are doing far much better than others, and especially if you look at wash programs. I've been to the northeastern Kenya, and they're doing a tremendous job there, because from water tanks, branded wash, whether you can wash your hands, to schools as well. How much can we push as, you know, a collaborative effort? Because it's a good thing that you've mentioned that the three things can be done,
yes,
in terms of nudge, in terms of drug administration, in terms of other factors as well. How did multi-sectoral approach?
Yes, that's a very good point. Yeah. It's not a new, but it is, we have to learn to do it. I think it is a change of mind and mindset that we can actually do things together than having to do things separately. I think it has to start from the mindset and also Sarah. I mean, the strategy for integration is now coming in the health sector and with other sectors. So I think it is something which is on the table, both at the higher level, at WHO, that let us integrate for sustainability. We can no longer do this business alone of single deliveries. No.
Yes. And, yeah.
I wanted to add that even at the county level, it has to be a deliberate decision that departments work together. It is no longer business as usual where everybody is pulling to their side.
Yes.
It is not a competition. It is a complementarity approach, where people pull their resources together, may it be human resources, finances. When you bring your cards to the table and you plan together, then it becomes easier for you to move together as a team, as opposed to where everybody is hiding what they're doing, like cards, and you're just unleashing what you think can make you move faster, or maybe be more visible. So it has to be a deliberate decision that people see this as a common problem that needs everybody's attention. So the departments, even at the national level, it has to be everybody's responsibility. Yes.
Yes, you wanted to add
just one more point maybe for that. I believe what we want to make a change is the demand by the community. I wish the communities to be empowered. One time I was in one of the villages, I don't have to mention the county, and the communities asked, but why are we being called for this? And next week, we're being called for another intervention. We can all come together and receive the interventions together. The communities are asking, think again. We don't want these multiple things. The communities can be empowered to demand, and it can bring the change. Thank you.
Ladies, and because of the interest of time, I want us to look at the day itself, because I'm quite sure both WASH and WHO, you have programs that geared towards, you know, the big day on Friday.
Thank you for that. On 30th, we celebrate annually what we call the World Neglected Tropical Days commemoration, and we do it at 2 levels. There is the national celebration, which this year will be held in Kajiado County. It was selected because of we all know that it's prone to trachoma, and it was given that special attention under the theme Unite, Act, and Eliminate. So the national celebration will be in Kajiado, and it will be, the guest of honor will be the CS for health, and of course other high-level dignitaries will be attending, the governor and the county leadership. Then in the counties, we are celebrating it in the 4 Western Region county. We call them the DIF counties. That is Trans Nzoia, Bungoma, Kakamega, and Vihiga. So we have what we are calling the build-up activities. So these are activities that are done from the grassroots level so that nobody is left behind. It is not about the D-Day celebration. 30th is the commemoration. But then we need to have activities at the sub-county, the ward level, the village level, where everybody understands that it is a common duty for us to work towards the elimination. So we have activities that are started yesterday, they're happening today and tomorrow before we get to the D-Day, that is Friday. So we have health talks, both in communities and schools, and then we'll have radio talks. There's the local radios that we use to be able to pass these messages. And in most cases, we even do it using a language that the communities understand, the local languages, so that we simplify. If you go to the village and talk about schistosomiasis or bilharzia, they may not understand. But if you use the local dialects, then they identify with that and they're able to understand what you're telling them. Then we have demonstrations, for example, for hand washing. So we have areas where the CHPs, community health promoters, will go to the households through the house-to-house campaigns. So they show practically what we are talking about in terms of hand washing. They're the steps that are recommended so that hand washing is proper. And we also have the house-to-house visits. This is mainly for that demonstration and also to be able to identify people that we may have, for example, with jiggers, but they're not able to access the centers for the treatment. And partners are coming on board to support each other in the treatment, in things that we can do, even in sending the messages to the community. Awareness creation, and for everybody to feel involved so that the community embrace these practices that we are doing towards elimination of the NTDs. Yes.
Dr. Joyce, what exactly are you doing as World Health Organization, especially in the run-up to the D-Day?
Okay, first of all, for the World NTD Day was created and established by the World Health Organization. So that is one of the major things that is to recognize a day that will highlight the milestones and what should be done for the neglected tropical diseases and for the people who are suffering. So that is one of the key things WHO has done. Apart from that, we are also giving, of course, support in terms of the theme, right? For example, what are we concentrating on? Bringing together all the partners who will deliver the ending of this roadmap. It's one of the things also for us to remind the policymakers and the countries of the roadmap. We are now already starting the second leg of the roadmap. Are we going to meet there? We have to remind ourselves, and WHO has to keep on reminding us, we have a roadmap to make. What are we doing? Are we putting resources? Where are we? Where are you in your milestone? It is our work to remind them. Are you on track or you have lost track? Where are the communities? So our role as WHO is to keep the government and the partners on track to the roadmap.
And now, still on the same, and I want you kindly to answer this question, the two of you. What message you have for policymakers, county governments, I'm talking about even the national government, bearing in mind that health is already devolved and we are having a number of challenges, and how can ordinary Kenyans, wherever they are, contribute to ending NTDs in their communities by the year 2030?
Maybe I start from the national and the higher policy. I believe this is a time for all the national, when I talk about national, it is all the the government and their partners and stakeholders to actually open our milestone and reckon and evaluate. And we have moved, this is 5 years, we are at the midpoint, and are we really there? So to me, I am saying, let us take stock and see the milestone. So that's the message to the policy makers. There is message to the governors and the counties the same. On your county level, are you on the calendar? What's your map? Are you falling behind? Or other counties, the other counties that are pushing better than the others because they have put investments, they have put targets that we must get rid of this condition from our people. It's also time to reckon. Communities, I believe you can talk about the communities. They have a role. They also don't want to be left behind. It is them who are affected. But as I said, deliveries of these interventions are through communities. So the community's role is that for example, how many people have been targeted this year, and will you target, and will they going to reach the target towards ending NTD in your county? So all of us have a role. Nobody will be left behind. Over to you.
Just to add on that is that communities need to call out their leaders to accountability, because their budgets and funds allocated towards support in the elimination of these NTDs at the county level. So they need to ask questions, because if this money, for example, is not used for improvement of water, sanitation, and hygiene, then we need to ask questions on what is happening to this money. These budgets need to be allocated to the correct intentions. We've had situations where budgets are allocated, but then later they are moved to other activities because NTDs are not treated as important. And that's the NTD title, because they will remain neglected as long as no accountability is asked. And then for the community, they need to understand that these diseases are treatable and preventable. We do not have to have the mass drug administration every year. We do not have to wait and think it's a way of life for the MDA to be there. Simple practices can eliminate this. And also the issue of stigma. NTDs are not a curse. They are things that, ailments that can be treated, and social behaviors that can be very important in the elimination of these NTDs. And also talk to each other, have community dialogues, so that we bring everybody on board and no one is left behind. We may think some people are not important, the youth, the children, women, everybody has a part to play. So let everybody be involved. It could be in a small way, but at the end of the day, those combined efforts go a long way in the elimination. Yes.
Dr. Joyce, again, I'm back to the counties because health has devolved.
Yes.
And has devolution strengthened or even weakened the fight against the NTDs? And how is it that some counties are doing better than others, and why?
Good. I'll try. I hope the national program will also answer that. But I believe devolution has contributed greatly to strengthen health deliveries. Definitely it has, because you have moved the services to the people. But what is the catch here is each county then should ask themselves, because that's where the gap is. You have given the power to the county governments, but they have to make the decision to prioritize it. But what we have seen, and I don't want to be shy, what we have seen in some of the counties we are mentioning is that sometimes the NTDs are sometimes even again pushed aside. Because we have to focus on these other conditions. And yet they know that this neglect tropical disease is something that you can eliminate. Already you have the medicines already provided for. What you need to bring in is resources. So I could say devolution is a big opportunity, yes, but it requires to be recognized and appreciated that it's an opportunity to even end the NTD in your county if you put resources there. So what we need to do, and maybe need to be done a gap, is going down to the counties and say, I was asking, actually, we are working with the national program to have what we call county profiles. It's already happening. For each county, this is what I have. This is my picture. And this is where I'm going. Every county should have that map and the compass. And saying, I am ending NTD, or are you not ending? So that is the difference. Some counties have done very well, and like the DIF counties, and they have even put money within their CIP, the county development plans, and others yet to. So this is a challenge, but I think it's a call for all the county governments to actually end NTD within the area.
And we will. Allow me to just take a quick break, but we'll be right back. When we come back, we'll be looking at the role of the youth, because we have seen some cleanup exercises. Many people don't realize that this can be a game changer. How can they be involved in actually helping out in the fight against NTDs? And how can we change the cultural silo mentality, where you find that people with jiggers, elephantiasis are avoided and shunned by the community? You're watching KBC News Check. Many thanks for keeping it right here. We're taking a quick break, but we are talking about NTD, which are neglected tropical diseases, and how to end them. This Friday, we commemorate the World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day and the action plan, which is the action plan. That is what we are laying it bare right here. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Gorgeous. Come on, 3, 2, 1, cheers! This isn't really happening, is it? Then break now!
Satchel! You're hurt?
Captain! Clear the way! Clear the way!
Excuse me. Sorry, excuse me.
Blood oxygen saturation is down.
Kila mwisho wa juma kwenye runinga yako ya KBC Channel 1.
Tunakuletea mkulima.
ni kipindi cha kila mtu.
Iwe wewe ni mkulima mdogo, mkulima mkubwa, muuzaji au mnunuzi,
au yeyote anayenuia kuanzisha kilimo ama ufugaji.
Tunaanza kwa mbinu bora na za kisasa za kilimo, ufugaji,
fursa za kibiashara, kuongeza thamani, pamoja na teknolojia za kuboresha kilimo.
Ni chakula ambayo kwetu sisi inatuletea mapato mazuri, watoto wanasoma vizuri.
Mkulima kisasa inakupa maarifa,
motisha na suluhu za kurahisisha mazao,
kuongeza kipato na kulisha taifa kwa ujumla.
Tazama Mkulima kila Jumamosi saa 10:30,
ambapo kilimo na fursa zinapatikana.
Mkulima, tuko hapa kwa ajili yako.
Welcome back to KBC News Check. Many thanks indeed for making time and also for keeping us company. Yes, we are looking at neglected tropical diseases. A very interesting discussion here, and allow me just to mention Dr. Joyce Onsongo, who is a technical advisor for NTD's World Health Organization Kenya, and just next to her we have Jane Jomo, who is a project manager at WASH Alliance Kenya. We are looking at why neglected tropical diseases are so prevalent in Kenya. But we have a deadline we have put for ourselves. Just like Vision 2030, we also want to eliminate NTDs by the year 2030. And the progress, as the two distinguished ladies are talking about, is that the progress is good. Yes, more can be done, but yet. But before we continue with this interesting conversation, allow me to cross over to Bunge, to the National Assembly, where Elgeyo Marakwet Governor Wesley Rotich is currently appearing before the County Public Investments Committee over audit queries. Let's first of all listen in and then back to this conversation.
System so that we will be able to detect any form of illegal connections. And also on finally, Chair, we have customer hotline numbers that we encourage our customers to be giving us some confidential information on illegal connections. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
And are you satisfied?
I just wanted to know if the companies hold any bills by the county or any other government institution.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
And how much?
Honorable Chair, the county government are actually paying the monthly bills. What we have on the problem is the National Police Service, which they are actually trying to pay the bills, but they extend the payment period to at least around 3 or 4 months, but they pay the bills. We have my accountant chair as the list of institutions with any outstanding debts, Honorable Chair.
Hospitals also?
Hospitals, Chair, the hospitals are paying the monthly bills. In fact, it's only a 1 month off bill that they are not, they are actually paying the bills, Honorable Chair.
They're current?
They are paying the current bills, Chair.
Okay, so maybe mine is just, I was in Koisimor village sometimes in December, and they were complaining about high bills. Do you meter the water, or you charge a flat rate? Because they were saying it was exorbitant.
Honorable Chair, all our connections are metered. We are 100% metered. But we have a minimum charge of 470 shillings, Honorable Chair.
Yeah, that's what they're complaining about. Why minimum charge, even if you don't have water? How did you arrive at your WASREP gave you approval for a minimum charge?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Okay, so let's go to query the last query on Cherangany, lack of license from Water Service Regulatory Board, WASREP. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair.
During the year under review, the company was operating without a valid license from WASREB, contrary to Section 72C of Water Act 2016, which gives WASREB the mandate to setting license condition and accrediting water service providers. In the circumstance, the company operations were not in line with the law.
Mida, put yourself on record first.
Thank you, Chair. I understand you could be overwhelmed. Good morning, everyone. Governor, my name is Senator Hamida Kibana, member of this committee.
Good. Governor, your response?
Thank you, Chair. It's true, Chair, that during the year under review, the company was operating without a valid license from WASREB, contrary to Section 72 of Water Act, which gives WASREB the mandate of settling license conditions and accrediting water service providers. However, Chair, Northern Rift Valley Water Authority, the county government and the board of directors has been working tirelessly and closely with the regulator to ensure that the company is registered as soon as possible. During the last engagement with the regulator and the agency, that is the North Rift Water, and the management of the company, the checklist of the guidance were deliberated on, and the agency is currently undertaking infrastructural improvement in both Kapsawara and Kapcherop schemes and proposed procurement of master meters, building system, treatment chemicals, and office and laboratory equipment to enable the company meet some of the requirements, Chair. Remember, even having master meters is a requirement for you to get a license. So, as pointed out earlier by the auditor, that we don't have master meters, that is even another issue that is affecting our licensing. The progress made seen from the inauguration of the new board. We have currently inaugurated a new board of governance, and training has been done at the Kenya School of Government in Mombasa, facilitated by North Rift Water, Kenya School of Government and WASREB, courtesy of the Gatsby Africa early this year. This will regularize the company's operation by obtaining a valid license from WASREB and ensure the continuous compliance with all the regulatory requirements in Annex 3. Request letter for assistance with regulator, minutes for the meeting with North Rift, WASREB, and Chemawasco. So, Chair, that is the biggest challenge we have. This company has a challenge, but we are currently having a project ongoing, and we have a second project that we are expecting from World Bank that is going to upgrade this entire area to the project to a better service. So we are trying to ensure that we comply so that we get a license. However, getting a license leads a lot of challenges, but on our part as the county, we have already done the board. We are in the process of recruiting even the CEO, and already the public service board has an intent of recruiting the CEO for the company. And now we are moving, but the challenge is this company is still collecting very little, so it cannot even sustain itself. Therefore, that is what is hindering us. But with the project that we are undertaking currently, we will install all the master meters and the meters to the customers, and especially the commercial. And therefore, that will mean now the company will fully comply to WASREB regulations for us to get a license. It's a bit rigorous, but we want to commit to this able committee that we are going to ensure this is finished.
Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. For us, the query is still outstanding till all this are put in place, Chair.
Members, any clarifications, any queries? If there is nothing, members, your closing remarks, beginning from Senator Amida. Anything? You even happy
No,
New Year?
no, I don't have anything.
You tell me, you happy New Year?
I did say good morning and everything. But Governor, I think you're doing well. I came in late, but I realized you're not badly off. Keep it up.
Get Eric.
It's a live feed from the National Assembly where Elgeyo Marakwet Governor Wesley Rotich is responding to audit queries to the committee, asking questions. And of course, we will be getting a little bit more of that from our Bunge team of the likes of Akina Gishuke Washira and Abdiaziz, my colleague Abdiaziz, who are following up on that. Just in case you joined us, we had just swapped from talking about neglected tropical diseases before we crossed over to Parliament. And just as mentioned, I have Dr. Joyce Onsongo, who is the technical advisor for NTDs, the World Health Organization Kenya, and we have Jane Jomo, project manager at WASH Alliance Kenya, also representing this critical link between water, sanitation, hygiene. This is what we're talking about because, again, neglected tropical diseases, NTDs, are not only preventable, they're also treatable. All right. The youth, we were talking about, off mic, we were talking about how the youth can also play a key role in ensuring that we are done away with NTDs. The reason being, they can also spearhead cleanup exercises. They can also, they are very good and tech savvy. They can also spread the news in regards to this and create awareness as well.
Let me start from why. Why should they be interested? So why should the youth care? Because they may think this is not their business.
Yeah.
But we all know that the largest population that we have in our country now lies within the age of the youth, people we refer to as Gen Zs, and we all see the energies that they have. And it's actually a group that cannot be ignored. So youth should care because NTDs affect the education, and if we said earlier that if you have these NTDs, then you're not able to attend education. So for them, since they're that education bracket, then it should hit them and they should give an ear and think about it. It also affects the productivity and future opportunities. And we know they are advancing towards becoming citizens. And if these future opportunities then are hampered, then it will affect them.
Yeah.
And then they're also change agents, powerful agents of change.
Yeah.
So it is their responsibility as citizens of the country to play their part in making health and people's lives better. So that is why they should care. And then how do they contribute? By promotion of this hygiene, and they also have information that they can share that has to be accurate. So they are an agent that can share information, and we know that they have platforms that are very vibrant. The social media, online platforms that we know are very key transmission agents of knowledge and information. And then, like you mentioned, they have days that they allocate. For example, for cleanup campaigns, they organize themselves, and these become very effective ways of improving and contributing to that change. And then they can also advocate for accountability, because we have said it is key that we have budgets allocated for this NTD elimination. And the counties have made efforts, especially in the deep counties, to have domestic resource mobilization. And one of the key resources there is the youth. So they have to be on board. And now, how can they help turn policy into action? Because we may keep talking about policies and this should happen and that should happen, but we need action because we are not far from 2030.
Yeah.
It's about 3 years. So we need action, and the youth can help bridge the gap between the decision makers, who are mostly the money holders, and the communities, and ensure that these policies are understood even at the grassroots. Because we may have the layer at the county, the elites, and those who have gone to school that understand these policies. But then the youth can come in to bridge that gap and remove that lack of knowledge between in the communities, so that they understand what the policies, simplify the policies, so that the communities understand them and they're able to ask questions. The issue of behavior change, it is something that the youth has the ability to influence, because they're able to move from area to area. They're able to speak and be listened to. And with time, people are able to embrace these messages that are being passed to them, and thus behavior change is able to be accomplished. So the youth are critical because they have the energy, they have the time, and once they have the zeal. And I wanted to mention some groups that have organized themselves, especially starting with the NTD week that we are going to commemorate on Friday. We have a group of youth that are very key, that are pushing this agenda in creating awareness, and we have seen a lot of results simply from them using the platforms that they have, reaching out to fellow youth, and being able to influence. In the counties that we work in, we have what we call the youth parliaments. So these are groups that have organized themselves, just like a normal parliament, where we have the speaker, all these members that ask questions, and they debate within themselves and create innovative ways of being able to contribute to NTD elimination. Then we have the WASH champions. So these are youth that bring themselves together, and we use them to pass this information to the communities, to the schools, so that they organize themselves, have ways that they know the school children will listen to them, and they are able to influence latrine coverage and also hand washing facilities in their homes. And finally, the change agents. So that these are basically people who've been trained on what messages to pass, so that we do not have risks of misinformation. You might go to a community member, and the information you get there, they will tell you very interesting things on how trachoma, bilharzia is passed. So to demystify these NTDs, then we use people who will be going there, because they live within them, then they have the time to speak to them in churches, in schools, during the barazas, weddings and funerals, any places that people assemble. Then they use these existing forms of gatherings to pass this information. So youth, for me, are key in elimination of NTDs.
Doc, you want to touch on the youth?
Yes, I think she's done very well about the youth, but I can also say that the youth are change agents. They have what they call peer influence. And we have just recently seen the youth who's doing the Magical Kenya. And so I believe it's a big opportunity that it can contribute and push the agenda for especially awareness and participation for the youth. And in NTD, by the way, a lot of the NTD victims are the youth. These are the young people in school. So actually they have a stake to play a role in that. And I want to appreciate what she said.
Yes, and another thing that we started out with is there's a lot of stigma and a lack of knowledge for everything, because you're looking at a family, and we have covered these cases on television and also on radio and our digital platforms, where you find that families have been shunned because of either one of these NTDs. I'm talking about, you find a family that has been ravaged by jiggers or bilharzia, taken out of context, like it's a curse, or maybe they did something that they shouldn't have. How can we change this mentality? And you bear me witness, and especially Dr. Joyce, is that this is something that is dotted around Africa.
Stigma, you're right, Ben. Stigma is one of the actually indicators that that come out of, or output that comes out of the disability that NTDs cause. For example, we gave an example of lymphatic filariasis, but there's also a disease called onchocerciasis, which is not in this really country, but people get blind. But even there's also blinding trachoma. What happens when somebody loses their eyesight? How is it that person, because of preventable condition like chlamydia, which is in trachoma, they will not be able to do their roles, and people kind of put them beside. We have seen a lot of these people actually kind of put aside, isolated, shunned. But what we see here is the way to remove this is actually to acknowledge that most people actually, like I was one time in the coast, and there's this thing we call mushipa, It's the hydrocele, the swelling of the groin for the men, and they believe, this is witchcraft. This has always been there in this community, and it can't go away. It is educating with the right knowledge. if people don't have the knowledge, they will believe what they have believed throughout. So we have a big role to bring the knowledge, but also to know that actually it can be, it doesn't have to continue like this. We can reduce. For example, if filariasis has been, the transmission has been totally been removed, and their children will no longer suffer this condition in the future. So this is hope. So knowledge, and also giving them the right interpretation of what's happening. So when people don't have knowledge, they will bring their own knowledge, and that is the superstition. So let us be the responsibility of bringing the right knowledge and then the solution for this stigma. The solution is to remove to give the knowledge and also remove this misconception of the knowledge.
And Jen, you have worked with a number of communities, especially in the northeastern part of Kenya. Speaking from what Doc has mentioned, which are some of the misconceptions that come with these entities?
Some of the misconceptions are that, for example, jiggers, I'll talk about from the Western region, is that people have very deep beliefs that jiggers do not just invade, while we know it's mostly contributed by the environment that we find ourselves, the vulnerable groups find themselves in. Some of the beliefs are that this is a curse that has been passed down from generations, because you find these vulnerable, you'll go to a homestead and people have been invested where the arms, they cannot work because the jiggers are in the arms, even in the private parts. So it becomes, it is really something that's eye-catching, and people will think that maybe interacting with these people will pass that misfortune on to you. And believes that, for example, in the use of latrines, that in-laws cannot share latrines. And you find if a lady has been married in that homestead, then she has to wake up very early to go and use the open fields before the rest of the people wake up. So this is just a way of contributing to the STH transmission, that is the intestinal worms. So such beliefs, if they're not handled and people understand that actually the transmission is not because of maybe the sharing of the latrine as such, but because of not using the latrine in the first place. So these are the misconceptions and things that may be very deep in some communities, and actually making them change may take time, and that's why social behavior change communication then has to be repeated over. You don't tire about speaking about the same thing over and over, and also bring people who have gone through such experiences to give testimonies of how their lives have changed. Because if I have gone through something and I speak about it, then people see that actually it is not a curse, it is not something that is beyond me. It is something that I have gone through and I came out of it, and it's something that everybody else can do. Use of latrine is something, it's not cultural, it is a behavior that everybody needs to embrace. Use the toilet properly. Initially, when we started the campaigns in these arid areas and marginalized areas, we went and said, just a toilet, bora choo. So now we are moving from just a toilet to an improved toilet. So we say choo bora. So with time, people embrace, and then from basic sanitation or latrine to an improved sanitation where it is not just about the hole, the squat hole, and a basic superstructure. It is a sanitation facility that is ideal and suitable by the health regulations and standards. So with time and patience and repetition of the same thing, and maybe using innovative ways to communicate, then with time they come to understand that this is something they can do themselves. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something. It's very important what my colleague has said about use of change agents. Change agents are very key. In fact, an example, I just want to quick one in Kilifi. You know, I talked about this swelling caused by lymphatic filariasis or hydrosis, matende, but they go na mshipa. Kiswahili wanasema mshipa wa kushuka na mfupa wa mapumbu. That means it is the swelling of the whole groin of the man swells like a big kibuyu. And the thing is, yes, I didn't have pictures. I think I would have shown you in the next time. They believe this is witchcraft, scared, and they hide. But this man came out and went for surgery. You know, it is resolved through surgery. So when the man was operated and the Ministry of Health is giving these services, they came, no. They call it hydrocelectomy. That's what they call it. You remove the water is drained, and they have a special procedure. The man went back. The Mzee went back to normal. And he said, oh, please come and see. It's not what we think. I am well. He has become the ambassador. Yes. And most of those people with the mapum have gone for surgery now. So just the change agents is a key area. Yes.
Well, that has scared me, that the NTDs, the NTDs are also targeting private parts. But there's something that I've noted, and you have a number of programs, many programs.
Yeah.
You're a global powerhouse when it comes to health. But even you, I'm quite sure you as World Health Organization, you face challenges trying to implement some of these projects, especially trying to eradicate NTDs in Kenya. Which are some of these?
Yes, one of the key things Ben you mentioned is the main of health is a big area. Of course, there's a global health agenda, but for NTD, even just in the area of neglected tropical diseases, I say there are 21. There's no one disease. So how are you going to implement? For Kenya, we are about 10, which are priority, because not all of them are here. Yeah. But you still have to implement. Some you have to fast track, others are for control, others are slow. So the major word here, which is not a new word, and most people actually sometimes share from it, it is, the word is combine, integrate, work together. One of the things which I know most of the other maybe sectors or even the health, they fear is, or they don't like, is integration. Integration means it's not like you're going to lose visibility. You are actually saying some things can be integrated, Ben, but not all, but many can be. What can we deliver together? Maybe we should just say, let us deliver interventions together as much as where we can. And there are many that can be delivered together. Training can be delivered together. Delivery of interventions can be delivered together. If you are going to the community to do a community activity, you can do that together. You don't have to go this week for this, the other week for that. So I think what we are trying to bring together now as WHO and even as for governments, sectors, what can you combine for community interventions? And that combination, right now, there are no resources. So the poorer you get, the wiser you get by saying, let's join together for delivery. So this is what we are pushing now. And what's going to be sustainable is how national, county governments, even communities, and in partners, bringing your resources together to deliver several items. Even 5 items can be delivered as one, as interventions. Not necessarily, because in the past when there was resources, everybody can run and say, I am doing agriculture, I am doing education, I'm doing health. But we can bring together these deliverables at the community. It's the same person you are reaching at the community level. So the word is, the buzzword is, let us deliver together for efficiency. It's called integration. But I might also need to say that it may not be 100%. There are some things for eradication that need to run sometimes by themselves. So when we are at the end of the mile, when you need to push the last mile, sometimes you need to go alone. Because when you are waiting for everybody else, you may delay. So there are some few interventions that, for example, polio is a disease which is not neglected, but it's for eradication. We have also some diseases in NTD, which is, for example, onchocerciasis, which is actually for elimination. Some of the interventions, even for LF, have to go sometimes on their own, like surveillance, so that you can monitor and see the end has been attained. So we have to be very careful to see what can we deliver together and what can just run alone and complete. Thank you.
Maybe from your angle, you have faced a number of challenges, especially in the northeast in Kenya. And I'm saying this because some of the cultures there are some things that they still believe in, which could be a hindrance to the fight against NTDs. Have you witnessed this?
Of course, the reason Areas marginalized could be maybe the climatic conditions, but there are also cultures that may still be very deep-rooted in them. So even when we started the campaigns there might be things that they do not want to listen to a woman speaking to them. But in most cases you find, or in some cases you may find, the person with the knowledge could be the women in the community and the youth, for example. So there might be communities that will not want to listen to that young girl telling them anything. So like we have said, with repeated emphasis and campaigns, then this becomes something that changes. And now we are happy because even some of the chief officers and CECs are women. So it's changing. And some of the public health officers that work in the communities, because most of the problems you find there are at that lower level, the community level, the wards and the villages and the sub-counties. But you find that PHOs are emerging, public health officers are emerging, who are young women, and people will listen to them. And when because the main problem was to stand before them, to tell them anything, because they will think, this is a girl we've seen grow up. So what does she know that we don't know? And she's coming to tell us about us using latrines. But we've always used these bushes, and we've been just fine. So, but with time, it's changing. So like I said, it's patience and lobbying and repetition of the same thing, and maybe using creative ways of communicating to them. So this is changing. I wanted to give an example of the Western Kenya, where we are having the NTD program. And some of the biggest problem we have had is, like I said, the use of latrines, the sharing of the latrines, and also ceremonies that are held. We know that there are these circumcision ceremonies. Events like funerals and weddings, where there's a lot of, for example, in the circumcision, using the same knife to circumcise boys. So these are things that I think need a lot of time to change. When you go to ceremonies like burials and weddings, people, hand washing there may not be, in fact, when you go to these ceremonies, there is no facility for hand washing. And the latrine may not be able to provide services to these large crowds. So people will use the bushes that are there. So like these cultures are something that are so deep-rooted, but with time and with this civilization and exposure, then it's changing and it's getting better. And I think we are at a point where now we can say that we are not where we would want to be, but we have made significant improvements and mileages that will work towards elimination of the entities.
Let's look at technology, because I'm quite sure in your organization you are leveraging on technology to assist you in this fight. I'll begin with you, Doc, because I'm trying to look at technology, and I'm also looking at even mapping the regions that you know are worst hit. You're also looking at tabulating how the treatment and the numbers that we have. How far have you gone, and where are we as a country?
Good, thank you. I didn't know you got to a very interesting point there, Ben. The matters of technology, but maybe just allow me to say one more. One of the challenges, before I go there, we meet is the north part of Kenya is very difficult for logistics. So it's difficult to deliver interventions because of logistics. So it's another, because you know the end of the road. But as you improve, of course, then you can be able to deliver. Let me talk about technology. Technology is very key in the delivery of NTD interventions, just in health. One of the major things we need is data, figures. How you have delivered like 6 million or 10 million tablets have been delivered to communities. Because that's what we do in mass drug administration. You have to count every tablet. Did it reach which child? Did they? All that has to be accounted for, accountability to the partner and to WHO. How do we get that data? Easy. Usually they have been using books, registers, every household. You know, these community volunteers, they are so hardworking. They go and collect in books and then put them together. Then before you get the data, it has taken a long time. But I want to say that there has been a breakthrough in this area by the use of electronic data transfer. It's called digitalization, which the ministry has actually embraced. These days, you go with a phone, you have got your gadget, and you have your data here. Every village is put in the phone, and how many tablets are there? And within a click of a button, these systems have improved data reporting, including mapping. So we have seen a very, very robust technology use in the delivery of the interventions for NTD, and even in general in health. Digitalization of data is a major one, including mapping. And this is something that the country, of course, has initiated about the digital.
You're hoping to be seeing drones that maybe transporting
drones.
some...
Yes, there are also drones there, but I don't know.
It's an ambition.
Drones have been used in health. I don't know if they've used them in NTD, but they are used to deliver vaccines, by the way, now. But I think it's an area which we can also use to deliver them medicines, I believe, in the coming days, where they are very remote areas and you can't reach them. Although, of course, that depends on the weight, because they are very, very light. Yes.
How are you using technology or leveraging on it?
Yes, I wanted to mention that initially, when we were, for example, getting information from the grassroots, people had to fill in the physical forms, like saying how many households they visited and what has been given out, how many children have been dewormed, etc. But now we are moving to an area where the public health officers have their own gadgets, which are digital, and they have platforms, for example, use of Kobo. So they are uploaded there, and they have templates that they fill, which transmit to the sub-county level and later to the county level. And this not only saves on time, but then it also ensures accuracy of the data. And this is something that is being rolled out by most implementation partners, but also the county themselves. So they do not have to belabor having to sit with a lot of paperwork to do the totals and to calculate and all that. It is something that at a click of a button, the summation is done, and report writing and accountability becomes much easier. So, and with time, a lot of young people are coming on board to work as public health officers, which makes the work easier. Initially, the people who are there earlier, who are older, may not have been able to use the gadgets. But now this has become simplified. And even when we go in as Wash Alliance Kenya, then we do not have to reinvent the wheel. We just look at a partner who has a platform that we can also bring a small component of our work in. And this information comes as one component. And when it goes to the sub-county and the county level, then totaling and report writing becomes much, much easier. So, and also I wanted to add that the private sector also comes in to support with that, because we are lobbying so as much as possible for them to support us in sanitation marketing and businesses that can be created around water, sanitation, and hygiene, so that we stop doing the same thing. You know, they come in with innovation. I wanted to mention, for example, people who are promoting innovative ways of using sanitations, like we have the separation of the feces from the urine, and these feces are used as fertilizer after treatment, of course, and then the urine is used for other purposes. So this private sector have also money that we lobby as implementation partners for them to support us. Safaricom, Coca-Cola. So initially we never thought of these ways of working with them. But now with the creativity and the innovation that's coming in, we look at everybody as someone that we can partner with through their CSR, community social responsibility. They allocate some amount of money that can be used for these simple interventions in the community. Yes.
Doc, how are we doing as counties? Because I'm quite sure more or less there are some countries which are worst hit, just like some of the counties in the northern part of Kenya. And some are doing very well despite being quite hit. What is it different that they are doing that we can be sure by 2030?
Or maybe at the county level? Or at
yes, in counties.
Or why are we different? I believe, okay, first of all, the difference in the counties depends on the endemicity. I mean, what affects them. It's not the same. Some areas, do you know there are some countries that have got 5 NTDs, others just have 2. So it's different. Others have more affected because these diseases depend on the conditions, the environment, the vectors. There are many factors that contribute. But there are some counties, like for example, the coastal region has really a lot of, like, more than 5 diseases at the same time. So they will take quite a while to get it. But others have less. So that's one of the things. But the other thing is how much the counties are sensitized to take action. We see there's a difference. The receptivity. So there need to be a lot of advocacy to the counties. That is the work of the national is to go and say, this, as I said earlier, the profile. Each county profile should be out and say, you have 3 diseases. Which one are you eliminating this year? You have 5. You have only 2. Why are you not eliminating? So knowledge and prioritization. Yes.
All right. Allow me just to hold the thought. Allow me to just cross over to Kisumu, where a section of professionals have thrown their weight behind former ICT Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo. The team fashioning itself as Friends of Owalo say that the former CS is best placed to address the historical challenges in the region. Let's listen in.
Which he has aptly framed as the third liberation, following the first liberation from colonial rule and social and second liberation that expanded political freedoms and pluralism. The third liberation, as he has articulated, is the economic emancipation of Kenyans from poverty, exclusion, and marginalization. This is a national mission, a noble and a legitimate cause that he has offered to lead from the front as the President and the Chief Executive of the Republic of Kenya. Today, as we stand here as professionals, businessmen, farmers, parents, and key stakeholders from Kisumu County to announce the formation of Friends of Eliud Owalo. You may as well call it a launch of Eliud Owalo Kisumu chapter, to declare our unequivocal support for the third liberation. Our county needs the economic liberation, as has been espoused in Eliud Owalo's various economic policy pronouncement. Of course, he has been talking about them once in a while. Even today, he was having a program at the TV, Nation TV. We are firmly united behind this call for economic transformation and are ready to play our role as agents of change. We do so because this agenda presents a clear, credible, problem solution fit to the lived realities of Kisumu County and the wider Lake region. I will go now word by word. Why do Friends of Eliud Owalo Kisumu chapter feel strongly that Kisumu needs economic liberation? The reason is simple. Kisumu County is a wealthy county, but with immense poverty, and the majority appear to be trapped in a circle of systematic poverty that has been normalized by the economic policies currently prevalent. This presents one of the greatest contradictions of our time. Kisumu is rich in assets, yet too many of its people are trapped in persistent poverty. That is a contradiction. Wealth let's deprivation is not accidental, therefore. It is the outcome of an economic model.
For President. Let's go back. Very well. That has been a section of professionals professional youths from Kisumu throwing their weight behind former ICT Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo, saying that he is the best place to address historical challenges in the country. We'll be getting more from our Kisumu team. team of the likes of Wycliffe Okech and Achola Simon. But we're on the tail end of this conversation. Many thanks indeed. If you just joined us, we are looking at neglected tropical diseases. And of course, I have two professionals who have worked side by side and hand in hand to ensure that we are done with neglected tropical diseases by the year 2030. That's where we have put our sights on, and that is Dr. Joyce Onsongo, who is the technical advisor for NTDs, that's the neglected tropical diseases, at World Health Organization Kenya. Just next to her, we have Jane Njomo, who is the project manager at WASH Alliance Kenya. We are also representing the critical link between water, sanitation, and also hygiene. We're on the tail end of this. What Kenyans, I will give you a minute each for your closing statements. What should Kenyans know about neglected tropical diseases, and what more should be done, Jen?
I think the catchy thing is that NTD is not something mystical. These are things that are first and foremost preventable, using very basic things that each one of us can do. Mm-hmm. And they are also treatable if addressed at the right time. Mm-hmm. And with evidence that we may have, a lot of research has been carried out, so we have figures that we can go by so that we're able to plan adequately and also allocate resources and also target areas that are prone to these entities, so that it's not a blanket coverage of even areas that are not prone to this. So, and with the policies that need to be actioned, it's not enough to have them on shelves and documents, so they need to be actioned, and also very, very important and significant community action and involvement. We are able to eliminate these NTDs. And also to mention that everyone has a part to play. It is not a one-man show. Everybody has a part to play, however small, and these coordinated efforts are able to play towards the elimination of these NTDs.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Doc?
I cannot what Jane has said, that is true. The punchword here is that it is possible to end. I use the word end because that is where the roadmap is leading. Mm-hmm. Some of these neglected tropical diseases from our community. Mm-hmm. There is hope because we have solutions. We have the strategy, the focus, and we have the tools. Mm-hmm. We have been given the tools to end. And we don't need our communities anymore to continue suffering, especially the new generations. The previous generations could have faced it, but why should our children and grandchildren suffer when we have the solutions on our hands? Let us unite at all levels. Don't be left behind. Let us act. We can eliminate this NTD from the country and even the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That has been Dr. Joyce Onsongo, who is a technical advisor for NTDs, that is neglected tropical diseases, at World Health Organization Kenya, providing policy, technical guidance, and also global oversight on the disease elimination. Remember, that's where we are. That's where the key word, elimination, totally. And just next to her, Jane Njomo, project manager at WASH Alliance Kenya, represented the critical link between water, sanitation, hygiene, and disease prevention at community level. I'm quite sure you've seen some sticker of WASH in one place or another, and especially in the informal settlements and in the northern part of this country. We're asking the tough questions in regards to these tropical diseases. What progress has Kenya made? Where are we failing? Where have we managed to change? And urgently, if we are to eliminate NTDs once and for all. Remember, keyword, preventable and curable. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Ben Troy Njue. And Susan, earlier on we had Lucy Mwaura. And thank you for our sign language interpretation. But don't go away. I'm giving the baton back to my colleague, Sheila Kayaro, for Kurunzi Mashinani and Tamwini. Let's do this some other time. I'm Ben Troy Njue. Do have yourself a blessed afternoon.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.
Nasema wewe ni manzi. Manzi ya pasta ama manzi ya nani hapa?
Shemanzi, Asha kanisani.
Wewe ni muamini wa hiyo kanisa?
Hapana.
Very nice. Hiyo ni ya kwanza, maka watu walimheshimiwa.
Nimekwambia uulize maswali.
Nikieleza hii mahakama, mimi hiyo pesa nilikuja nikachukua nikatoa, nikawa kiondoo ilikuwa imejaa. Nikatoa nikaweka kwa mfuko ndio zisimwagike. Nitakuwa naeleza mahakama orangu.
Sheria ya kanisa pale pakijana anaruhusiwa kuchukua pesa yote.
Sasa ningewacha simwagike mheshimiwa kusema
ulikuwa unatoa katika mifuko ya tai.
Wewe ni aso wa hiyo kanisa.
Aje hapana, mimi ni Islam.
Very good. Walk out. Usiniletee Kiislamu hapa.
Arda?
Yes.
Slavery and human trafficking are still a huge problem worldwide, and only a few clicks away on social media. On Facebook, human traffickers mislead migrants, promising them lucrative jobs in industrialized countries. And on TikTok, so-called coyotes offer help in crossing the US border, but in very dangerous ways. How are they doing this? Over 2.5 million people were apprehended by the United States Border Patrol in 2022. Many of them were brought into the country by so-called coyotes. These are smugglers in the lucrative organized crime network that transport people and goods across the Mexico-US border in collaboration with cartels. They charge between $3,000 and $75,000 to bring someone across, and accessing their illicit services is easier than ever, all thanks to social media.
Welcome to the dark side of TikTok. Here, smugglers advertise their services, and they do it in plain sight, just as you see on screen. Comment sections are chock full of requests for more information. They are then invited to chat privately. These posts are easy to find. Just a quick search for Viajes a Estados Unidos Garantizados, guaranteed trips to the USA. The sheer volume of videos is shocking, even for migration expert Guadalupe Correa Cabrera.
I mean, I was like, how coyotes are using TikTok? But then I realized that TikTok was very important for coyotes to increase their business. It's becoming a very important facilitator.
The videos are usually simple. A few pictures of travelers, of a city in the US, and a message to assure future customers.